a controller for it. I would, you don't have to worry about it.
All right, so we'll call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock, right on the dot tonight. So I'll read the meetings from the last, or the minutes from the last meeting, sorry. There's the records today. So as of May 10th, which is the last time we met, club had $30.95 in the checking account. We paid bills totaling $1,099.19. Of that was $258.54 for sprayer pipes and et cetera to Tractor Supply. Agway for $87.24, which was stakes for Augie's Trail at that point. Walmart for $8.12, again for signs for Augie's Trail. Wheatley $91.95 for the club website. O'Reilly's was $26.57 for sprayer pieces. Paid out $30.76 for tractor fuel. $40 or so for a 6-wheeler and sprayer fuel. Home Depot $149.85 for a bunch of stuff, but basically trail maintenance items. Town of Bath and State of New Hampshire was the tractor registration. Harbor Freight for $295, we'll call it, for the new pump and hoses for the sprayer. Fish and Game registrations for $13.40. There was a couple of credits for $51.74 and a bank deposit for $558. So the new balance after all that was $17,633.38. The trail report at that time, the club tractor moved to Lisbon. That way Matt has access to it to use it on a regular basis, and it's easier for everybody. Salmon Hole Loop had been graded, it's now open. He did get a brush hog, so he's gonna do some brush hogging and stuff at that point. Working on trail maps, and they can be found at the AV ATV.org/trail-map.html. The Littleton Select Board approved an ordinance which allowed OHRV/ATV riders to access the trail by riding up Park Road to Burnaby Road. We put up some orange snow fence with help from Ken Hurd to keep people from using that funky little loop around the top near the tunnel. Scott Simons mentioned if Matt ever needed help, that he could give him a shot. As of membership totals as of June 14th, the club had 165 members. And at that point, the old business grant aid was approved, waiting final signatures from the state, retroactive back to June 1st. Matt Champagne has started talking to landowners from Stringer Pond Road back to Lisbon and hope to get more access to the area. Talks are going well so far. Mentioned the sprayer, how it may, because of some weird stuff, we went and did a little bit more money than what was approved a couple of meetings ago. Even though purchasing a larger crash pump wound up costing less money than the original one, some of the other pieces, because of the bigger ones, are a little bit more expensive. He says they should be spraying parts of the trail next week. Farm and to see what they might need, but has not happened at that point. Wells River, I mentioned riding in the Wells River parade and seeing was anybody interested, but it was short notice and it wasn't feasible at that particular time. Scott made a motion to adjourn the meeting at that time, and then Scott Simon seconded it, and they were all in favor. That is the minutes from last meeting. If I could get
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
This is Scott Champagne. Second.
Scott
I'll
Simons.
second.
Yep, either one. Okay, so that was seconded by Scott Simons. So that brings me, sorry. So that's one. So treasury report, the balance as of the June meeting was 17,633.38, as I just talked about. With bills of 308.78, of which was Harbor Freight for the different size sprayer hose. Where and the 6-wheeler was $50. Tractor Supply for some more spare parts was about $45. Some drill bits for $4.98, which is spare parts. Walmart for mailing supplies and paper in the amount of $13.08. Fogg's Hardware $20.96 for paper. I'm sorry, not for paper, for sprayer parts. The Postal Service was $23.20 for stamps. And then $68.96 and $12.17 all spare parts. And then credits from Tractor Supply in the amount of $16.95. We deposited $18.55 for membership stuff. Our new balance is now $19,196.55. Don't need a motion for that one. That one's just information. Matt, can you do a trail report?
Yeah, so I got a hold of the brush hog, went down, brush hogged Salmon Hole Loop all the way around. This past week, I actually had gone down. Let's see if this will work. Hold on one second. I started brush hogging out to the beach that we talked about prior. I was gonna try and show the aerial photo that I sent you, Mark, if it would load, but it doesn't seem to be loading. What else happened? I sent out the letters for every landowner from Salmon Hole back into the town of Lisbon. So hopefully we'll start getting some of those back. I'm sure people have questions, and I'm sure there's some that won't sign it, but gotta really start somewhere. So other than that, Burndy Road was opened up, the industrial park. So I went up and actually signed Burndy Road, but Hammerland land will need to be all signed. I know Mark and I talked about that. I don't know if that's going to be a work detail or something like that at some point, but there's going to be quite a bit of signing to do up
there. Very good.
We have to sign the ATV park, his park.
We actually adopted that.
Oh,
So when Burndy Road opened, we adopted that section.
okay.
So once we sign that, he's now eligible for that. I think it's 20 million or 20,000, something dollars for the liability insurance. That's part of the reason we adopted that part.
Is there a map of his ATV
There
park?
will be, Matt's working on that as we speak. That's actually pretty extensive up in there.
Never been up there.
Well, I haven't either, but Matt's been in some sections. He GPSs as he goes, so he may need to, and it gets added to the map as we go. Matt, could you talk about that a little bit, the GPSing of Hammerland?
Yeah, so I drove what I could up on Hammerland to map it out. So if you go on our website and go to trail map and you zoom in on the Hammerland section, the stuff that I drove is showing on that map. I did just receive, I spoke with Eric this afternoon. He has a PDF because he had that all his trails mapped out by a surveyor. And so he has a PDF of all that he sent me. So I'll be making that its own section like we did on Augie's Trail, is its own little map on the website. Hammerland will have its own section as well. So that will be mapped out, at least to show us where the trails are until we get some trail names and the sign we go.
Super.
Yeah, that'll be a lot better.
Wow.
So so Matt, the John Elliott Junior Loop, is that still closed at this point?
It is. If I can get down there with the brush hog, that was my next thing. I think I can cut a trail through around the washout so we can at least open that up a little bit. I got to talk with Scott and highway crew and see when we can get some stuff dumped in there.
Okay, so we'll work on that section, but right now it's because that's a washout in there is why that's still closed. It's not water.
Correct. Yeah, that the first section, that first hole was pretty bad to begin with, and it's really deep. And unless you drive through that, riding on the side of it is pretty. You're on a pretty good tilt there. So I didn't think it was all that safe. But if there's no water, you can drive through the flat section, and then the washout. Obviously, down at the further end, we can get around. But if even if we can at least get highway to put some rock into that first section to raise it up, level it out a little bit, we can get around the washout section at least for now.
Right, and the club through Grant Aid, whatever they put in there, the club, I believe it's 2,000. There's an amount there. I know it's at least $2,000 in material that we put. Grant Aid will take care of. So that'll help a little bit.
I'll try and send Charlie an email and catch up with him.
Very good. So memberships as of today is 191. I'm not sure who the odd guy is, but just 191. And then we'll just start with old business. The sprayer went out last weekend. Seemed to work okay, loading water. Went out with the pump that was on the sprayer to start with. It wound up flooding out to a point where it made its own oil basically, and filled the crankcase with oil and fuel together. So obviously stopped using that for the time being. Finished off, I think 3 tanks of water, 150 gallons or so, using the new pump. Kind of weird way to do it, but made it work. So we've revamped the sprayer to use the new pump, which is a little different. It'll now spray from the tank using the new pump, and then has a quick connect so you can move from spray to loading water. Connects in. At this point, the only thing left to finish is the rear spray burner. The sprayer that was on it really wasn't putting out enough. You would have to almost go in a crawl to get water down. So gonna revisit that. The dust control, like I say, we did what we could for the time. We'll revisit it probably this week, or maybe not this weekend, but probably the Sunday next weekend. Basically, you gotta do what you gotta do, and make it work, I guess. So part of the old businesses we were trying to get hold of Horse Meadow. I called twice, 3 times this week, once last week. And it seems like every time I call the director, she's either in a meeting or she's gone, or it just doesn't happen. So I left her a voicemail for her to call me, because I'm sure I can answer her better than she can. But at this point, there's been nothing on the voicemail part, as far as what they might need or that type of stuff. So anybody have any old business other than what I just went with?
I don't. I'm gonna try this screen share again. I think it's working now. See if you can see my screen.
Yes, yep, we can see your screen now.
Okay. All right, so this is the PDF that Eric got me of the Hammerland trail system. So that'll be, and then
He's gonna switch in a second, yeah.
Yeah, this is.
And then this is the aerial photo. This is the current trail on the left. The one that shoots off toward the beach is the one I started last week. Hopefully clear out a section over here and then get so people can get down to the beach area. That's off the Seminole Loop. So getting there. And then if you haven't seen our trail map, this is on the website under trail map. You can zoom in and out. And as you zoom in, you can see the different sections. Oh, hold on. And so that's the stuff that I rode myself that has been put in the map. So yeah, so everyone can see that.
Looks pretty good.
Is that wide enough for side by sides or just ATVs?
What's that? Which one?
The hammer down trails.
Yeah, at Hammerland, is it wide enough for two side by sides to get by each other? Is usually, unless it's one way, so of course.
Some of those trails are probably going to have to be a one way. The main trail, though, I think is wide enough to have two side by side.
I have a question about those trails, just for curiosity. Are
Yeah.
those more for advanced UTV drivers, or are they beginners? Or, you know, I'm wondering if they're hilly and they require more skill.
Yeah, it's kind of a wide range of everything. It's kind of what you feel comfortable riding. The main trail that you could ride around is fairly smooth. And then obviously he has some that are like there's one that's a rock crawl. He's got some that have like logs, so you go up over those. Those are more challenging. And I think when we start mapping those out, that might be something we have to do, like a green and black type trail, you know, like a ski mountain, just so people know what they're getting into.
Okay, thanks.
That's good.
So definitely more challenging than a rail trail.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because I think the rail trail is probably like, you know, ATV 101, you know. So,
Yeah, that's kind of like what we call the vanilla trail. So I guess the new business, Marianne, I'll let you talk because I know you have questions.
okay, yeah, I had a few things. One was the other day I was on the trail, and later on that day I talked with Weeble, who works for Eric at Hammerdown. And he told me about the issues with the grass growing, the shrubs growing up along the side of the trail. And I did notice that too. And I was going to bring that up because I thought it's like one ATV width, and you probably can't do two because there's so much grass growing in. And then I thought with, the pedestrians and the bicycles on there, it just makes it harder. He mentioned that one of the ATVs that was using the trail hit a post because it was obscured by the grass. And I was just wondering, he mentioned something about that he would get out there and do some, brush hogging on it. And I don't know what kind of a permission, one of those MOUs or SOUs or whatever it is that the Bureau of Trails gives out, who can actually get in there to do that kind of work? Is it something that you as the ATV club use, or is it something that Eric and his team could get in there? Do you mow it during the summer ever?
So the answer, do you mow it, is the first question I'll answer.
Okay.
We try to trim as much as we can. This, as far as mowing, the state, you're gonna laugh when I tell you this, the state mows it once every 3 years.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Yeah, right.
They also grade it every 3rd year, opposite the mowing.
Mhm.
The grass will grow, as you obviously know, the grass grows, but when they grade it wide.
Mhm.
They also do a lot of cutting, well, Snowmobile Club actually helps by cutting most of the time, because they usually have that big, I call it the fence post cutter on the side of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't go up as high as, it gets out there, but it doesn't get out there as far as it really can. So that being said, part of my new business, and I thought you might have been going there first, is I want to bring up that the club, or I believe the club should purchase a couple of things. One is a battery operated weed whacker, quote unquote weed eater, weed whacker, a battery operated chainsaw, and then an attachment to go on the weed eater, which is a pole saw, and then possibly a hedge trimmer, which will get rid of all of that. But I do not have figures on that tonight, but I wanted to speak to that so we can think about what's going on. And I know you have more. Spot.
Do you want me to I'll just go down the list or?
I know you have a couple. I know a couple of them, but go ahead.
Okay, that's not too long.
No.
We talked about doing a surfacing experiment where there may be some repair projects to be done. And I was willing to put in money on that to try to fix those spots with a finer grain material than the big chunks. And I just wanted to know if there was any progress on that. When I talked to Clinton Savage a while ago, he said that the money for your grants would become due in July. So I thought probably nothing was going to happen until July or later.
Nothing, so we supply the material to the state for them to put that on the trail. In the past, and I don't know how it's gonna work this year, in the past, they put that down in the fall. And it's kind of a weird way to do it, but they put it down in the fall and they let the snowmobiles ride on it all winter long.
Mhm.
And the snowmobiles over the winter will pack that, so that way so that way you have much less labor intensive packing it down so it'll stay.
Mhm.
So they let the recreational guys and the snowmobiles pack it all down for us.
Yeah.
So that usually happens, it's after they close, so somewhere around, by the time you get there, it's probably gonna be like around November that they're gonna put that material down.
Okay.
It'll probably be purchased before then, but it'd be realistically down the trail somewhere in November.
Okay, and are they planning to buy a finer grain like the 5/8 or?
So when you and I talked, when I made the grant and talked to Chief about it, which is where you would see Chief, and so I put the grant in for the gravel that you and he and I had all talked about. So as I called it in the grant that I put it in, is Vermont Trails mix.
Mhm,
That way
yes.
in other words, they can always go back to that later on in life.
Right,
So it's gonna be smaller than what we've been getting in the past. I think we were doing 1.5-inch crushed gravel, and I didn't like that anyway. So now you're down to 5/8, what do we call 5/8 Vermont-based trail mix.
right.
So when that comes out, that's what you'll see is that 5/8 mix.
Okay, that's great. And I'm excited to give it a try. I mean, not only for our usual benefit here, but for other trails around the state that are having issues. I just think that it's worth this try to find out how it works. And you guys will know right off the bat, how it works for the ATVs. And we're kind of used to that. It's just, I guess, whether the tires will fluff it up and cause it to, disappear on us. But we'll give it a try and we'll see what happens. I'm willing to go for that. I'm not sure exactly where you're planning to put it down.
So that is on the state. Like I say, all the club does is they provide the material to the state to put it wherever they're getting to. However,
Okay.
I believe there is a section, let's see, I believe it's near DCI. To the south side is where they're starting, because that's the next logical section.
And where is that exactly? I'm not sure where that is.
DCI is I think it's furniture.
Oh, the furniture place. Oh, good. Okay, good. Because what I was wondering, what areas you feel need the work. And then I'm sure if you feel it needs the work, we feel that it needs the work.
Correct.
And we can then petition to Clinton, say, look, these are the places that we all really want to have fixed.
Great.
And I just want to say, in my experience in riding the trail on a bike, I have really no problem going from Woodsville into Bath. I mean, that's really in good shape as far as sharing the trail. And from most of the way from going the other way from Industrial Park Road down toward Lisbon, we exit the trail at that double gate where there's an access to a gravel pit. We exit there. So between that and Industrial Park Road, it's really in good shape. A few places, I can take a rake and kind of fling some of that 1.5 inches, but it's the piece between Lisbon and Bath. There's areas in there that are just tedious on a bicycle because of a lot of rock. And so those are the places that I'd be very interested in seeing if we could fix, particularly in Lisbon, because I feel that might be the area where someone might want to take a walk or bring their little kid out for a walk or on a little push bike or something. And there are areas that would be tedious for that. So if we could look at those spots that are the most concern and go for it. I'm not sure how many, feet or yards or, quarter mile or third of a mile or whatever, do you feel that this grant will be able to cover?
I'd have to look back, but I believe it was 3 years ago, we did 60 loads and we started, where did we go from? We started in from the opposite side of Lisbon. Basically, there's like a pond on the other side, just past the loops, which is, what is that road there, Scott? Sorry, Presby's Pit Road.
River Road.
So we started around River Road, if you wanted to look it up on a map. Road is just past Route 302 overpass, not 302 overpass.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Seminole Loops, if you're looking, as far as aerial map. I believe the 60 loads put us down almost to the 302 crossing. So that's usually, you can almost tell by the color of the sand.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's it's pretty extensive. And that's pretty sure that's what I put in this year is 60.
60 loads. Okay, good.
Stuff should
And-
cover the same, even though it's bigger stuff, smaller stuff, I should say. It should.
Yeah.
cover the same.
Okay. So would it be a continuous application of 60 loads, or could you do 30 loads over here and 10 loads over here? What do you think?
So that would be up to the state. You know what I mean? They, like I say, again, I only provide them the material, but.
Okay. All right. So,
That would be something you could definitely petition Clinton to do, is that this is where because technically, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care where it goes, as long as it goes somewhere beneficial to everyone.
okay. I will do that, and I'll probably be I guess if you have suggestions that there's places that are just, hard for people going through on the UTVs or ATVs, that would be great. Otherwise, I'd probably be saying, anywhere, near where people are likely to go out, like in the Lisbon area, somewhere between Lisbon and Bath. And
So as you know, ATVs, they really don't care if it's kind of rough for them. They just push the little throttle down more. Whereas you
Okay.
have to pedal harder. We don't worry about that so much.
but are there areas prone to washout or puddling or something that would be good to fix?
So I haven't seen that other than they need to, so I haven't seen that other than grading issues, but, we'll have to do a survey on where we think, and I could probably do it with GPS, GPS area, this area.
Mhm.
Next time we're out and about, we can check that out.
Okay, why don't, maybe,
know-
at some
Marion,
point we
can I
plan
just say
to,
something?
sure.
I just know that the spot right behind Arrow Peters in Landath is very rough with coarse rock. So
Mhm.
that's probably one of the sections that you have difficulty with. Most of the other section of trail, it seems like that rock has been graded off, from the old railroad, the actual railroad bed. That section still has it, so that is pretty rough. So that might be a section to try.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's put that there. So good. All right. Well, maybe, if this isn't going to happen till November, we have time, to take a look at this and then just, suggest to Clinton, these are the places that we really would like to have the effort put. So I'd be willing to work with all of you on that. Maybe I'll put together where, I have the biggest, as an old lady on a bicycle, these are the places that I have the biggest problem. And then, we can work down from there.
Phil, I will answer your question. I saw it.
Phil or Tony, I'm not sure which one it was.
I saw it was Phil.
Oh, it's Phil?
Yeah, it looks like the mic is off on everyone.
Yeah, I did keep, just so everybody knows, I keep trying to mute the people that aren't speaking.
Right, yeah.
Because otherwise we get some real bad feedback.
Right.
So I know Tony, I've muted him a couple of times.
Right.
But you should be able to unmute yourself if you have a question, but
Phil,
otherwise, please keep muted.
Go ahead, Tony.
I apologize. I switched from my phone to my laptop and didn't shut the microphone off. So that horrible squill you heard was me wanting to be able to see the map that was put up and switching.
And I'm sorry, but I did mute you, just so you know.
That's okay.
I needed to, one of my inputs needed to be muted because I made a loud, horrible noise. I apologize.
That's fine. Phil, do you want to unmute yourself? I know you had a question. I could try to answer your question.
Yeah, I was wondering why the state has to determine where you need to add gravel to the trails when you folks are there day in and day out and know what needs to be done.
We usually make suggestions. They make the ultimate choice.
You do actually own it, so.
Yeah, it's their trail. So the grant is we supply them with the gravel. If I did it, we were gonna spread the gravel, then we could put wherever we wanted. But because they are the ultimate spreader outer people, they ultimately have the position of putting it where they want.
Okay, doesn't make sense. Seems like a government overreach to me, but.
Yeah, most of the time, if I tell them, I want to put X amount of loads in this spot, that's no problem. It's just wherever they land it with a truck. So,
Okay, thank you.
sure. Anyone else while we're talking, want to unmute and talk? That's fine.
I have just one more thing. I just want to make it, just so you have it on the record that my organization is willing to participate in helping you to maintain this trail. So if there is a washout, I've noticed some, around Bath where, the riverbank is eating away at the trail. I don't know if that's a Bureau of Trails cost or whether that's your cost, but do keep us in mind. We get some grants from various sources and we have donations. So we have a pot of money, kind of like what you have a pot of money. And we use the trail, and I really want to establish this collaboration that since we're out there, we want to participate. And that is not only monetarily, but we will try our best to help you with some trail work too. Not that I am skilled in chainsaw, but I can use a rake and a shovel really well. So I just want to conclude by saying that, we'd like to be able to help you out.
Very good. Just so you know, part of the grant aid this year is anticipation of what they called winter damage. Part of the reason they did that was Ammonoosuc Rail Trail had winter damage there, where they did that huge project where basically it took out 3/4 of the rail trail. Nothing was in there for the club, or any other club that for that matter, to address anything that was unforeseen and had winter damage. They've approved our club, and I'm sure every other club, for $10,000 for winter damage. Basically, if something happens in like that, and the other side of the river obviously already has that issue, the state can, or the club can opt to have the state do the work. They can basically donate $10,000 back to the state to fix that area. In other words, we supplied materials last year, or this year they needed stumpage, as I call it, 10-foot tall root balls to make that stay together, which was pretty costly to the state, obviously. Does it cost the club anything to get that? No. So we could have basically helped them with $10,000. Basically, it's their own money, it's grant money. That they wouldn't have come out of Bureau of Trails pocket for that. It's kind of weird. It's like a big pair of pants, but everybody has their own pocket. But anyway, that's in there for next year, technically. So, but that's where we're at there. So, but yes, we will keep that in mind too. Marianne.
Okay, I'm all set.
Okay. Anybody else have questions?
I'd just like to thank you for making this meeting available via Zoom.
Very good. Like I said, there was some people that were very open to it, but we have more people Zooming tonight, and obviously I know Marianne likes it much better than coming from the other end, as I call it, the other end of the earth. The only other new business I have is we'd like to do a work session either Saturday or Sunday this coming week to sign Hammerland trails. We would supply everything except for maybe a hammer and maybe a screw gun. And basically, like I say, we'd lay it out and wherever they would go. I know, Matt, is that on your radar?
His anniversary is Saturday, so I don't think he's.
No, he's gonna, no, that's later.
That's.
Sunday would work better.
No, wait, only Saturday. Sorry, I think that's only Saturday, and it's from like 6 a.m. until midnight.
Okay, you can take it up with the wife. How's that?
All right, well,
I'm available Sunday, but not Saturday.
okay, so let's do a workday Sunday.
Sunday is 17th.
I may be late to the party, but I may have to work on Sunday again. Somebody doesn't know that yet, but they do.
Meet at Industrial Park Parkway.
You want to meet right off the top of Burndy, or you want to meet in the Parkway?
I would say right at Burndy, I mean, if you go up the end of Burndy, Eric's got, before you hit the actual trails, there's a little gathering area there. I'd say right there.
Or there, so what happens what do you want to do about a wheeled vehicle? Do you want to bring, they can park trailhead and ride in too?
That's what I would suggest. Just park at the trailhead and ride up.
I'll just park it, Industrial Park and take the road up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I say,
Pick a time.
more the merrier. What time do you want to do Sunday, Matt?
10, 11, I don't know. 10, 10's fine.
10's better. Early.
Yeah. I may not be there till late, just in case I happen to actually have to work Sunday, just so you know, which is a little after 2 is a shut off, but, I will be there at some point. You have enough signs, obviously, but you don't have enough stakes.
Correct. Yeah, I just need stakes.
Do you want to do Home Depot stakes again, or do you want me to get you some from, Agway?
It doesn't matter to me. whatever. I mean, it's easy enough for me to order from Home Depot and I can just pick them up. Or if you want to grab them and run them down sometime this week, that would work too.
Yeah, let me see if I can get them to you. If we can't, we'll get them ordered by Thursday or something like that, so. Does that work?
Okay, sounds good.
So.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, statements, et cetera? Seeing nobody talking, we will,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
at 7:40. Scott Champagne. Second, anybody?
I'll second it. I'll second it. Matt Champagne.
Matt Champagne, meeting adjourned 7:40. Thank you all for coming. He was fast.
He's got the kids in the background.
Yeah.
His wife.
Thank you, Marianne. We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, great. Thank you very much for the Zoom opportunity. It saved me a lot. I was over in Vermont all day today and then come home and then to head back out would have been hard. So this worked out great.
Very good. The only thing I didn't mention was next month's meeting is the second Tuesday of next month.
It'll be in there now.
Yeah.
Recording.